You came for the barakah came. So thank you. Last time we stopped at Surah Al-Fatiha, so we're going to best continue. I'm going to go on a bit of a streak with Surah Al-Fatiha. It's going to get a bit, dense, but this is important because it will maybe reframe how we read Surah Al-Fatiha. Because the problem is, alhamdulillah, we know Surah Al-Fatiha so well. We can recite it from memory without any, thought. But the problem is that when that happens, you get into auto mode really quickly. So where you're not even thinking what you're reading. So you need to have a lot of data and backup to be able to engage with what Al-Fatiha is. We don't need a lot, but because of the age of distraction we're in, we need to have a few inputs, good inputs for us to know. These are just a few things on Salah, 2 slides on Salah, then the importance of Salah, then I'll switch back to Fatiha. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, الْعَهْدَ الَّذِي بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَهُمُ الصَّلَاةِ فَمَنْ تَرَكَهَا فَقَدْ كَفَرَ. In another riwayah, إِنَّ بَيْنَ الرَّجُلِ وَبَيْنَ الشِّرْكِ وَالْكُفْرِ تَرْكَ الصَّلَاةِ. The contract that's between us and them, what differentiates us and them being the people of the book who have left Islam, is prayer. Whoever leaves it has committed kufr. And the other hadith, between a man or a person and shirk or kufr, or basically being a person who does shirk or kufr, is leaving the prayer. Taban, there are 2 meanings for these things. The first meaning is literally, if you completely deny that Salah is a fard, or you're in the middle, like, I'm not sure, maybe it's fard, maybe it's not, I don't know. This type of belief system, you can easily fall into the circle of true kufr. You have willingly said that this is not a fard. Why bad? Because you don't want to do it. You've seen bad people do it, so you want to find an excuse not to do it. It doesn't give you the high you expect to get from it because you don't know how to do khushu'ah properly, or because you think you should get a high every single time you do your fard, which is not the point of Salah. The point is not the high. The point is the reformation inside and in your brain. Yes, your heartbeats decrease a little bit. I tried it on my strap and it does work. But the high of khushu'ah, you're not supposed to get that every time. You can fall into kufr very easily. So, like Sharawi always suggested, with any fard, Sheikh Sharawi, any fard, if you're not able to do it yet, never say it's not fard. Say, I'm sinful, inshallah Allah forgives me, please make dua for me, and have that with you, because doing the mistake and admitting that you need to change is one thing, and you're not able to get on the wagon yet is one thing, and saying it's not even obligation altogether is a problem altogether. Khalas? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, you fall into different circles of shirk and kufr, even if you think it is fard. So you know it's fard, but you're not doing it because you're lazy, because whatever, you're finding excuses. You fall into different circles. You fall into a circle of shirk where you think that your boss has more control over you than Salah. You have to give your boss his due. You have to play the game of asbab in dunya, but it doesn't mean that it comes before anything else. Or kufr of denial. You're denying Allah. You're not grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He even created you, that He gave you Islam, that. And I sometimes really, I work with wonderful people. I live with one, I have great neighbors. They're all non-Muslim. I even have some of my family members are not Muslim. But the thing is, when I look at them, I actually wonder, wallah, how do they live? And I don't know. I try to imagine my life without Islam. I don't know how. Wallah, I really don't know how. On every single level. From friends, from dealing with my own vices, from money, everything. It's just so hard to imagine. But you can fall into one of those circles easily. It's a smaller form of shirk or of kufr, but it's there. Salah is one of the gates into Jannah. One day the Prophet ﷺ, he was in a circle, he said to the Sahaba, who of you woke up today and he's fasting? So Sayyidina Abu Bakr said, me. And then he said, which one amongst you fed someone who's needy today? He said, me. He said, which amongst you visited the sick today? He said, me. He said, these things do not come together in one person in one day, except that he goes to Jannah. But then he asked, is there a person who can go through any door? Is there a person who's going to go through all the doors on Judgment Day? He said, yes, there is. In another way, he said, and it's you. We don't know the exact doors. Which ones are they? We know only 4 of them. I think it's fasting, jihad, salah. It's the 4th one, slipped my mind. And then the last ones, there's different opinion on them. But salah is definitely one of them. My question back to myself and to you all, the quality of our salah, Is this the salah that can get us through that door? خد بالك انت on judgment day انت you need any excuse. فمن زحزح عن النار وأدخل الجنة فقد فاز. Whoever just slides away from nar and gets barely best into heaven, he's a winner. And we have the bitaqa, the hadith of the bitaqa. This hadith, by the way, it's the most beautiful hadith we have. It's the most problematic hadith we have. Whoever comes out on judgment day, the card, the bitaqa of La ilaha illallah, it will do away with all of his sins and it will get him into Jannah. This is the most problematic hadith we have because everybody relies on this hadith. Anyway, Habibi, it will get you into Jannah, بس بحقها. يعني with its right. يعني you did everything you could to really uphold La ilaha illallah, but you had one sin, wala two, wala three, you couldn't change. And those are worthy of getting you into Jahannam. But Allah will forgive you because you upheld the bitaqa, not because you just have the bitaqa. For every time we walk through the gates at the library, or at uni, and there's a beep, and it opens the door. Make the dua, Allahumma ja'alni mimman yadkhulun al-jannah bi bitaqat la ilaha illallah, kama ja'altini mimman yadkhul al-dunya bi hadhihi al-bitaqa. Make me of those who, my bitaqa and judge will open the doors for me, like here, this little silly card opened this door for me. But the question, how many cards do you have? My debit card just it malfunctioned the other day because I always keep it with my other cards. So the chip is not working anymore. So contact doesn't work now and the chip doesn't work. So I had to order a new one. Alhamdulillah, I have another card. I don't like to use Apple Pay because it gives them a percentage and they support Zionism. So I like to use only my physical card, even with contactless. So I have another card. But if I didn't have another card, I wouldn't be able to pay anything in the streets until I got my new card. How many cards do you have? That's the question. Look about the types of salah we have, which we engage with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with. We have the sunan of the fara'id. We have the fard itself. The fard should come before the sunan. I don't know why I put them that way, but anyway. We have the duha prayer. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, لا يحافظ على صلاة الضحى إلا أواب. Only the person who prays the duha prayer, which is after sunrise by 10 minutes, 15 minutes, up until dhuhr, but 5-10 minutes before dhuhr, 2, 4, 6, or 8. The Prophet ﷺ always used to pray 4, never less than 4, but you can pray only 2. It's the prayer of thanking Allah for all your joints and thanking Him for giving you safety, food, and shelter for that day. Because that's as if you have the whole world if you have those 3. For just one day, so you have the whole world. Nobody does those things except the person who is awab. Awab is a person who returns to Allah constantly before setting. Yani, Awba, we said this before, Awba and Tawba. Awba is you return to Allah before you set on the path in the first place. Tawba is something happened and you turn to Allah at the end to get back to Him, right? You have the witr prayer, which is the last one that we pray before we go to bed. You have the istikhara when you want guidance. You have salat hajah. So guidance is, Allah, do I go right, do I go left? That's salat istikhara. He says, you get the feeling all things around you are facilitating towards go right. You went right. Before you go right, you say, 2 rak'ahs, Allah make this going right easy for me. And then you go into this path, salat al-hajj or need. And then salat al-safar. Maybe it's a weak hadith, but the Prophet ﷺ used to pray 2 rak'ahs before he would pray. And when he would arrive to his destination or back to his home, he would go to the masjid first before going home and praying 2 rak'ahs. It's a very, very left sunnah, or forgotten sunnah, but it's a beautiful sunnah. When you first get married, the first thing you do with your spouse is you pray 2 rak'ahs. Difference of opinion, some say it's 8, but the one I've always heard is 2. One of the shuyukh that taught me said actually the original is 8. People diluted it to 2 because nobody wants to do the 2 in the first place. The weak hadith as well, that while you're resting during travel, you do 2 rak'ahs. There's, of course, the night prayer, so you have up until 8. Salat al-khawf, there is when you're actually afraid, that's when you're facing in battle, where there's no ruku'ah, there's no sujood, you're held captive or something, you pray while you're standing, you pray your fard while you're standing, the whole thing, because you're afraid. Hatta when you're in that situation, you cannot let go of the fard. That's how important our salah is. By the way, the salah is not obligatory except for 3 people only. The child, the person who's unconscious, and the person who's sleeping. Of course, if you didn't set an alarm or tell somebody to wake him up, those 3 people, unconscious falls in it, somebody who's lost their mind. They're not physically healthy, subhanAllah, mentally healthy. Those are the only 3 people that salah is not incumbent on them. Any other situation, you're sick, you're paralyzed, you're at war, you're a prisoner, whatever. You're about to be hanged and it's Asr time, pray the salah. Huwa kida. Now we have our brothers and sisters who are going to be hanged. And they still have to pray on time. That's how it is. Tawaf. When you do your tawaf, after the tawaf, you have the 2 rak'ah. Salat al-ghaib. When somebody passes away and you're not there, you do the salat al-ghaib alayh. The absent death, right? Istisqa. When the rain is not coming, you're supposed to istisqa. You go out and you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in groups. And taban, this used to be, the sunnah is you go out with the worst type of clothing you have, and you go out in your worst state. Even if you have a Rolls Royce, you're supposed to walk out to the desert and make dua. Today, when they still do this now, in the Middle East, they don't do that. They walk out with their best SUVs, with their best thobe, with their best perfume and atr and oud and this and that. And Allahumma, ya baba mish kida. Then you have to show to Allah, I am poor. All of this, nothing. If you don't give me best water, I'm nothing. That's the sunnah. The salah of khusuf, which is the eclipse of the moon, eclipse of the sun, eclipse of whatever. Salat al-tawbah. I have a colleague of mine, before he started learning deen, he used to say, when I used to do like a really bad sin, I would just say, I'm going to just pray 2 rakahs, kida, for Allah, just for Him to forgive me. And then I found that it's actually a sunnah. When you do something really bad or even small, whatever the sin is, with Allah there's no big and small sin. Any sin you do is big for Allah. But Allah is kind enough to tell us the sagha'ir and kabir. But it's a sunnah that you actually pray 2 rakahs. And we have sunnah to what to say in them. We take it from the hadith of Abu Bakr. A few names of Surah Al-Fatiha. Surah Al-Fatiha has over 25 names. Surahs in the Quran don't have just, some surahs have one name. Most surahs have more than one name. Right? It's like Surah Al-Isra, or the journey of Isra. Its other name is Surah Bani Israel, the surah of Banu Israel. Okay? Surah Al-Nahl, or the chapter of the bees, it's called Surah Al-Nam, the chapter of blessings. Because Allah says in it, all the blessings He says, and He gave you shade and shelter in the mountains. والله جعل لكم من جلود الأنعام بيوتا تستخفونها يوم ظعنكم ويوم إقامتكم ومن أصوافها وأوبارها وأشعارها أثاثا ومتاعا إلى حين. And Allah gave you from the leather of the animals homes that are light for you to carry when you're in place and when you're traveling. Basically tents from leather. And from its hair, and from its rubble, and from its fur, furniture and tools for you to use, clothes or whatever else, until an appointed time. Basically until you pass away. Until today. Leather is so much more represented and loved in cars and clothes and bags than fake leather or any other material. Till this day. With all the tech we have. It's a sunnah Allah put, it will never go away. So, Al-Fatiha has a lot of names. The first is Taban Surah Al-Fatiha, or the opening. Taban, you have these, you don't have to race and write them all. You can take notes and then the rest you have them in the slides inshallah when they're shared. Al-Fatiha, the opening. It's the opening chapter, but it's the opening of how you speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Kitab, the mother of the book. Because it has all the topics of the Quran in only 7 verses, or 7 ayat. Quran. It's the mother of the Quran itself. So it emphasizes that it has the key elements of all the Quran, not just the core meanings of the message of Islam, but the core meanings of the Quran itself. Because every faith has things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala focused more on. That's why we always say Sayyidina Nuh and Sayyidina Musa, they were more towards the harsh side. They were stronger. They were more direct and confrontational. Sayyidina Isa and Sayyidina Ibrahim were very soft. And Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ is the perfect balance, but he's more towards soft than hard. And that's what happened when, long story short, a group of when a group of the Jews and the Arabs, they betrayed, or the polytheists, they betrayed the Prophet ﷺ at war, etc. And then there was this opinion: should we take them captive? Should we free them? Or should we basically pass capital punishment on them? Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Umar, he said, la, you have to eliminate them. Because they will do it again. There's no good in these people. They'll do it again. Sayyidina Abu Bakr, he said, no. They are our family and the relatives of our family. We cannot do this to them. Forgive them, Ya Rasulullah. For Rasulullah forgave. And Allah sent revelation that he shouldn't have listened to Abu Bakr, that Sayyidina Umar was right. But he didn't tell him change it. For Sayyidina, for Rasulullah, he went to Sayyidina Abu Bakr and to Sayyidina Umar. He told him, long hadith, beautiful hadith. He said, مثلك يا أبو بكر مثلك يا عمر كمثل نوح إذ قال ربي لا تذر على الأرض من الكافرين ديارا. Your example, Omar, is like Nuh when he said, "Oh my Lord, do not leave one single disbeliever on your earth. If you leave them, they will never believe." كده بقى. And they will make the world a horrible place. ومثلك كمثل موسى. And your example is like Musa when he said, رب اشدد على أموالهم رب اشدد على أموالهم واطمس على قلوبهم فلا يؤمنوا حتى يروا العذاب الأليم. Allah, do away with their money and close their hearts until they will never believe, and so that they will never believe until they see your punishment. That's how much they bothered Sayyidina Musa, his people, and Pharaoh. Or Pharaoh, sorry, and his people. وَمَثَلَكَ يَا أَبُو بَكْرَ كَمَثَلِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ. And you, Abu Bakr, you're like Ibrahim. And then he started reciting the verse of Sayyidina Ibrahim. وَمَثَلَكَ مَثَلِ Isa. And your example is like Sayyidina Isa when he said, رَبِّي إن تعذبهم فإنهم عبادك وإن تغفر لهم فإنك أنت العزيز الحكيم. If you punish them, they are your slaves, and if you forgive them, you have the most izzah, and you are the most wise. And then you have السبع المثاني, the 7 repeated ones. طبعا مثاني means the repeated verses. It also refers to the ones that are recited repeatedly in every prayer. Surah Al-Hamd, it is the surah of Hamd, because it says Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. You start with Al-Hamd. And this surah is one of the few surahs in the Quran that start with Al-Hamd. Alhamdulillahi الذي خلق السماوات والأرض وجعل الظلمات والنور ثم الذين كفروا بربهم يعدلون. Alhamdulillah to Allah who created the heavens and the earth. And He created darknesses and light. Many darknesses, only one light. ثم الذين كفروا بربهم يعدلون. And then those who denied or disbelieved with their Lord, they find equals to Him. Alhamdulillah أنزل عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا. Beginning of Surah Al-Kahf. Alhamdulillah, Allah sent the revelation to His slave and He didn't make it a wayward path. Alhamdulillah لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبره تكبيرا. Alhamdulillah that who did not take a son, did not take a child, and He doesn't have a partner, and He doesn't have any associates with Him in the mulk. وكبره تكبيرا, and glorify Him a great takbir. Many of them, around, I think there's 6, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not mistaken. One of them is Surah Al-Fatiha, and it's the first one. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Surah Al-Shifa, it is the cure. It is part of Ruqya, when you do Ruqya, when you're sick or when you're tired or whatever, that you actually read Surah Al-Fatiha on someone. Sayyidina Umar, he would put his hand on someone, read Surah Al-Fatiha, and they would find a cure. The Sahaba once did the same. One of the Sahaba were the Tabi'een, and it didn't happen. They said it's not working. He told them it's not the Fatiha's not working. It's the belief of Sayyidina Umar that's not here, so it's not working. You have to have total conviction that the medication doesn't do anything. Khalis. You have twins, both have the same disease, both take the same medication, one is cured, one is not. Allah put the secret here, didn't put it here. That's how it is. Surah Al-Ruqya. Oh, by the way, Surah Al-Ruqya, because it is Ruqya in itself, but Surah Al-Shifa, because it cures the illnesses of your chest as well, yani your nafs, not just Ruqya in itself. It's called the Salah. Surah Al-Fatiha is called a Salah. And if somebody tells you to recite the Salah, you recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Because if you don't read Surah Al-Fatiha in every rak'ah, in any prayer you do, your prayer is annihilated. It doesn't count. It cannot count. You have to read Surah Al-Fatiha, be it Fard or Sunnah. Surah Al-Kafiyah, the sufficient. It suffices itself. It's everything that you need. Surah Al-Asas, the foundation. And other names for it is Surah Al-Waqiyah, that protects you. Surah Al-Wafiyah, the ample. Surah Al-Kafiyah, the sufficient. Surah Al-Kinz, the treasure. Surah Al-Su'al, the asking. Surah Al-Shukr, the thanking. Yeah. The last one is, I just repeated twice, sorry. It's Surah Al-Su'al as well. It's questions, asking or questioning, or asking. I mentioned this already. Now, the majority of scholars say Surah Al-Fatiha it's a Meccan surah. Because the Sahaba, when they were praying, how can they pray without Surah Al-Fatiha? So it came in Mecca, but a small minority say that it was also revealed in Medina, so it was revealed twice for its importance. But it was revealed in Mecca first. Okay. So like I said, it has 25 names, but like Surah Al-Ikhlas, because the more the surah is important, the more it has more names. Surah Al-Ikhlas, by the way, has 23 names. Qul Huwallahu Ahad. And Qul Huwallahu Ahad, Surah Al-Ikhlas, one of its names is the sweeping, because it cleans your iman by saying that Allah is only one. Yeah. The Prophet ﷺ, he asked the Sahaba, shall I not tell you of the greatest surah in the Quran? And he asked, shall I not tell you of the greatest ayah in the Quran? The greatest surah in the Quran is Surah Al-Fatiha. The greatest ayah is Ayat Al-Kursi. Yeah? And Ayat Al-Kursi, by the way, has 10 different topics in it. Allahu la ilaha illa hu al-hayy al-qayyum. لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه. 4. يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم. 5. خلاص. 10 different lessons in it. Divide them كده. Small fiqh يعني كده part. When you're praying in Jama'ah, the Shafi'is see that once the Imam reads the Fatiha, he needs to wait and give a chance to those behind him to read Surah Al-Fatiha themselves. The Malikis don't see that. They see that you can just keep on reciting because you're the Imam, so you read it, khalas, you don't have to wait for them to recite it as well. Difference of opinion. I don't know what the Ahmadis and the Hanbalis say. I don't know. This is just sectioning of Surah Al-Fatiha. I covered this the last time. The scholars say that طبعا Allah's name subhanahu, we're going to cover actually Allah's name and what does it mean. But Allah subhanahu jalla jalaluhu. However, the most like name to Allah after Allah is Ar-Rahman. And that's why subhanAllah, and I believe this personally, that's why Surah Al-Rahman, despite that the topics in it are beautiful, but there are some other surah, the topics get you more, yani you interact maybe a little bit more. But Surah Al-Rahman, there's like a magic to it كده, that you feel like you're encapsulated from the first word because it starts with Ar-Rahman. هي كده. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started with Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. He didn't start with Ar-Rahim, Ar-Rahman. What's the difference, anyone? Between Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim? Take your time. Exactly. Thank you. To break down what you said a little bit more, Ar-Rahman is an adjective. It's a description. Rahim is an action. Rahim is an action. It's very hard to, I don't think maybe any of you has ever met someone called Rahman. But you've met people called Rahim. You meet someone called Abdul Rahman, but not Rahman. Because Rahman means he is always merciful, and nobody can be that except Allah. You can be Rahim, but you cannot be Rahman. Okay? Rahman is his book, and existence is a blessing for all creation. Rahim, his specific mercy is reserved for those who deserve it. Yani, Rahman is for everyone. مثلا Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Rahman al-dunya, Rahim al-akhirah. Allah give rahmah to everybody in this dunya. Everyone, without exception. Kafir, mushrik, mujrim, fasiq, mu'min, Muslim, doesn't matter. In the akhirah, his rahmah is specific. Only certain people will get it. Rahman is more time. You can think horizontal. Rahim is more vertical, specific. So all of your life, Allah's rahman to you. If you're falling off the cliff and you're making dua to Allah, in that moment, whatever He sends of rahmah to you, that's Rahim. In that specific moment. You need a lot of rahmah in that specific moment. Allah itself comes from the word aliha. Aliha. Aliha is to worship, but it's also to seek refuge, and it's also to be perplexed. Yani when you say and when you're a bit mixed up, it comes from this aliha. It's this verb of aliha. And when you're worshipping and when you seek refuge. So they always say, البعير تأله إلى ولدتها. The small calf calls out to its mother, but they say يأتأله. So this idea that Allah is what we always call for. We're calling out, we're looking for that rahmah, for that motherly mercy, for that connection, for that parenthood, for that cultivation and that care. That's Allah. That's what the word is. And subhanAllah, throughout the ages, side note, and even in music, they always say the most calming tunes is la 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 la. These are the most calming tunes, and the most calming tones to use is the la 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 la. And most tunes that get popular or become hits are usually ones that have a lot of la 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 in them, because there is something about it intuitively. This word Allah or aliha, this verb aliha. Yeah? Good to see some familiar faces. Assalamu alaikum. We say alhamd and not shukr. Again, remember we always say there are some words in the Quran. If they come together, they mean two separate things. If one of them comes, it means the same thing at the same time. So if you say hamd, it means hamd and shukr. If you say shukr, it means hamd and shukr. If you say hamd and shukr at the same time, they mean two different things. However, Allah always, when He mentions people in the Quran, His slaves or His prophets, He says, إِنَّهُ وَكُمْ مِنَ الشَّاكِرِينَ فَخُذْ مَا آتَيْتُكَ وَكُمْ مِنَ الشَّاكِرِينَ, says Sayyidina Musa. Take what I've given you and be of those who are thankful. He doesn't say وَكُمْ مِنَ الْحَامِدِينَ. Hamd is a higher level, but hamd is extremely hard to maintain. It's almost impossible on the human level. Because hamd is you are grateful for someone for their inherent characteristics, regardless of what they give you, what they don't give you. Anta ya Rabb, subhanak, you are worthy of me worshipping you. You give me, you don't give me, your inherent characteristics, you are worthy of hamd. Shukr is, I got A, so I'm giving B. The human condition, the best they can do is do shukr. Even if you think you're paying it forward, you're paying nothing forward. There is no such thing as paying forward with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The fact that you aslan exist in the first place is a form of shukr. Whatever difficulty you're going through. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, on Judgment Day, a person who never saw any good in life, poor, blind, deaf, cannot speak, any good, he will be dipped kida, like you dip beautiful bread into tahina. I'm hungry. He puts him into heaven kida for a second, takes him out. He will ask him, did you ever see any evil in your life? He said, وَعِزَّتَكَ وَجَلَدَكَ مُنْذُ أَنْ خَلَقْتَنِي أَنَا فِي النَّعِيمِ. With your izzah and your jalal, since you have created me, I am in bliss. I've never seen any harm. And he will take a person who has lived the best life, the most opulence you can imagine, and he puts one dip into her. Have you seen any good? وَعِزَّتِكَ وَجَلَالِكَ أَنَا فِي الدَّنْقِ مُنْذُ أَنْ خَلَقْتَنِي. I am in the worst living situation since you've created me. He will forget everything. This is the ratio of what happens really. Just being created, by the way, if we were just created and we get to live this life and there's nothing after death, there's no Jannah, there's no Nar, we wouldn't be able to thank Allah for just creating us. One. He created us and then He'll give us the equivalent amount of years we lived here, there, in Jannah or Nar. Whatever, I lived 40 years. And then 40 years there, bardo He's giving it 10 times, 100 times. He gives us infinity. If you sit down on a nice sunny day like today, kida, and you think about infinity, it's very hard to grasp because we don't know how to grasp the concept of infinity in our heads. It's the concept we're not made to grasp in this life. But we try to practice shukr as much as we can in hopes that we get the hamd, but it's a very hard concept to reach. And that's why we say, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Because we're always trying, that's our North Star. You're not going to get there, but that's your North Star. Yeah. Okay, the adhan. Now we can move on to the adhan. So, I'm going to stay on this a little bit here. I'm going to go through, well, it doesn't really show here, it shows on my laptop, but anyway. Everything is white except a few gray ones. The gray ones is the things we're going to reflect on. The white stuff is the fiqh. So I'll just walk through them as, because we said in this module we're going to have a few, or this workshop we're going to have a few, I promised a break. Should I give you guys a break? 5-minute break? All those in favor of a break say aye. I'm not saying, raise your hand. No break, we keep on going. Raise your hand. But I didn't get any input. We have like 10 people. No break? No break. Break. ماشي, I'll keep on going because the time is running out anyway. We're gonna finish. Like the sunnah of the adhan. The first sunnah is that you should be on wudu. You can not be on wudu, but it's like to be wudu. And then you have to face the qibla. We're gonna come to the qibla in a second. The importance of the qibla. Maybe today we'll cover it, maybe not. If we cover best the adhan, that's good. And we said in this module we're gonna cover everything, inshallah, as much as we can. So we're covering the meanings of salah, fatiha, al-adhan, the dua between the takbir, the meaning of takbir and Allahu Akbar, the dua between takbir and reading Surah Al-Fatiha, and then reading the Quran and how to ponder the Quran, and then ruku'ah, what does it mean? And then between ruku'ah and sujood, the dua you make when you're standing, and then the sujood, and then between the sujoods, and then the tahiyyah, and then the salam. Why do you say salam? And the adhkar after the salam. For we're going detail one by one. Facing the qibla, and then takbir. هنا بقى I want to ask a question. Can someone tell me what does Allahu Akbar mean in English? Yeah, that's translated best. What does Allahu Akbar mean? Yes.
Allah is greater than everything, I suppose.
حلو. Greater ولا greatest?
Greatest, but like, well, you know, it's like.
ممتاز. Why بقى? Explain this to يعني.
To show that, like, it's like, it's not that he's just the highest, but like, he has the highest over absolutely everything. It's like the compensate.
Excellent. In Arabic we have superlative and comparative. Superlative is Ahmad al-Asra. Ahmad is the fastest. Ahmad Asra, Ahmad is faster. So Allah could have said Allahu al-Akbar. That's the greatest. He didn't say that. He said Allahu Akbar. Allah is greater. And you have to open. Greater than whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're in right now. You're at work, you're making $1 million, you're taking your company on the IPOs, going live on the stock market. Allah is greater than anything that's happening. You're getting married, you're getting divorced, your kid is dying, your kid is being born, doesn't matter. Allah is greater right now than anything, and this makes you remember Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And bsaraha, if you read the documentaries of people who colonized Muslim countries, one of the things they say is, don't take away their book. Because if you take away the Quran directly, or the fight religion directly, they will resist harshly, which is true. But they said, but take away the language, so that they don't understand the book. Because if they don't understand the book, it will just be images and not meanings in the chest. And that's how you get to them. That's what the British wrote. For this idea that we today see Allahu Akbar as when we get a goal, or when Khabib hits McGregor on TV, or when somebody says something nice at a debate that makes Muslims look good, say Allahu Akbar. That's not what it's supposed to be for. That's not the target of Allahu Akbar. Yeah? You should raise your voice when you're doing the adhan, and every single thing that hears you, every single plant, an animal, an angel that hears you makes dua for you. Taban, that's the sunnah of raising it. Taban, here, if you do that, they'll evict you out of every single flat you go to. So raise your voice at a degree that's acceptable without getting evicted. Okay? Pausing between the phrases, you shouldn't go on too fast. You should place the fingers on the ears. You should turn right and left, because that's the sunnah. Because if you were in a normal setting in nature, you want everyone to hear, you need to turn so that everyone can hear or everything can hear. Hatta if you're in the desert, they say if you're in the desert, sunnah is if you are in the desert and there's nobody there, you have to say the adhan. And if you're in the desert, the jinn and the angels will come behind you, they will pray behind you in sufuf. The jinn will pray behind you. And you have to do the iqamah. And you have to pray on time. Your masjid is the desert. Yeah? And then after the adhan, you send salawat ala Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma rabbi hadihi ad-da'wat ad-tam. Was-salat al-qa'imah. I don't know why I don't have the slide here. I used to have it. Something happened. I'll try to put it in. But I'll just say it. I'll say the dua. Allahumma rabbi hadihi ad-da'wat ad-tam. Allahumma, the Lord of this invitation that is complete. This adhan is complete. Hayya ala salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Why should I repeat this if I already know it? Because we need reminders. A human being is, one thing that's perfect about us, nothing is perfect about us. We are flawed in every single way. But the one thing that's perfect about us is that we always forget. We forget the biggest things, the smallest things, the most heavy of principles and the lightest of principles. We're amazing at forgetting. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة يعني strive towards and ride basically صلاة. حي على الفلاح. And then ride falah. Falah is, we said it before in our lectures, falah comes from falah. Falah is actually a farmer, but falah comes from falaha. Falaha means that you're successful not just one thing. One thing is you're najah. And you could be najah at something bad or something good. If you're a good robber, you could be najah at sariqa. You could be a person successful in stealing. You cannot be falih at sariqa. Nobody, in Arabic, you cannot put those two together. Falih with a bad verb. You can't. It has to come with a good verb. And falih cannot come with one thing. يعني you cannot say أنا فلحت في امتحان الرياضة. I succeeded, but I did falah in the mathematics exam. You can't say that because it's momentary. Falah has to come with something that's long term. Preferably long after you're gone كمان in your akhirah. That's why they call a farmer falah. Because whatever he grows, it's not just for him, it's there after he dies. The trees and the crops and the land, all of creation are going to enjoy that after he's gone. So basically, ride your prayer because that's what's going to ride success. Yani, prayer elevates you up like a hot air balloon كده. You know, think of Up, the movie Up. Yeah, you jump on the balloon and it goes up and you go up to the clouds. When you go up, that's Salah is the hot air balloon. The basket at the bottom بقى with all your stuff and your projects and your loved ones, that's falah. Your success, but if you don't have the hot air balloon, it will fall. You think you're in the air, you are in the air, but you're falling. So that's what raises you. And then Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. فthis perfect اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التام, this perfect message والصلاة القائمة, and the prayer that is قائمة, established, that's going to be established. We say in our deen وأقيموا الصلاة, and establish the prayer. وآتوا الزكاة. We don't say وأتموا or complete the salah. We don't say وأدوا and perform the salah. We say وأقيموا, establish. Right? And if you look at this word qawama in the Quran, it comes in very interesting places. And aqimu ad-din, establish the deen. Qa'imina bil-qist, they are standing with righteousness and with fair balances. But basically, long story short, this word qawama in the Quran has many meanings, but its central meaning, which everything else comes from, is to establish something, to keep it upright, living, fair, present, and ongoing. So if I do my salah and then afterwards my tongue is foul and I don't think it's foul, even if it's one thing that your tongue is foul and you're trying to not make it foul, and it's one thing that you don't mind that it's foul. My tongue is foul, my economics are not right, my family kinship is not right. That's not establishing the prayer. That's ta'diyat as-salah. That's not iqamat as-salah. You've performed the prayer. You've not established the prayer. It's a very big difference. Very big difference. It's like if somebody puts internet fibers up outside your house, but they don't connect it to your house. Technically, you have internet in your area, but you don't have internet. That's the same thing. You have internet, you have salah, but you don't really have salah. You didn't really establish it. Yeah? والصلاة القائمة آتي سيدنا محمد الوسيلة الفضيلة والدرجة العليا الرفيعة. You are the one who is going to give. It means two things. You're the one who gave, and you're the one who's going to give. Give him, you make the dua. Give him the preferred fadila, the preferred preference amongst all your prophets on Judgment Day, and the highest rank, and resurrect him the maqam or the place, and mahmud, the praised place that you promised him. There's a difference of opinion of should you say إنك لا تخلف الميعاد, you never break a promise. There's a difference of opinion, is this even sunnah or not to say or not, but in the end one of the sunnahs is you can say إنك لا تخلف الميعاد, you never break a promise, Ya Allah. Yeah? And then dua after adhan. طبعا dua is a separate workshop we like to do, by the way. After this I'm going to stop after the adhan and give you a break, 5 minutes, and you come back, then we can take the Q&As. I think that's nice just for you to take a break if you want, okay? Because I can feel that everyone is sleeping and the CO2 is increasing in the room, for there's no oxygen, I feel it already. We have a lot of times where the dua is answered. So we have the last third of the night. Let's take it from the beginning. We have the last third of the night. We have between the adhan and the iqamah of each prayer, we have when it rains, we have when you're in difficulty, when you're breaking your fast, when you're traveling, when you do your dua of what's it called? I forgot. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن توليت فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت. I forgot it's a صيغة كده. When you say it, you can start making dua after and it's answered, etc. But we have times where the dua on Friday between Asr and Maghrib. But also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has nafahat. Yani Allah sends blows of mercy anytime where your dua can be answered anytime. So you really don't know when it's answered, and to that effect, it's answered 24 hours of the day. We have best certain pinpoints kida, where we like to put pins kida, the Prophet gave us, to focus more on those times. But in reality, it can be accepted anytime. خلاص? Most of us don't focus on this time between the adhan and the iqamah. You're in class, you know Asr called, and nobody else is a Muslim, right? You didn't hear the adhan because it's not there. You don't have the app, you didn't download the app because it does, awkward sounds anytime. No matter how many times you fix the notifications, it always goes off at the wrong time in the wrong meeting with the wrong people. So you don't have the app, whatever. But you know now, khalas, it's the time between the adhan and the iqamah. Make dua. You have to have a wird. You have to have a portion of dua a day. I always say keep a booklet with du'as and then just open it and open the last page you were on and make just three du'as. Or you can have a practice. I make one dua for my akhirah, one dua for my dunya, one dua for someone else. My parents, my loved ones, my friend, someone who's going. Do what you gotta do, but keep this practice very sacred of doing dua between the adhan and the iqamah. The Sahaba were in the masjid before the adhan, not when it calls they go. They used to go before the adhan. And they would sit, and this is time, this is how you tone down. This is how you get khushu'ah, by the way. Meant that you cannot arrive 3 minutes before the takbir and you do your sunnah in 3 minutes. You can't even read any Quran in it, and then you expect to have khushu'ah. But when you go 15 minutes before, you do your dua, you sit down, you do your two sunnah, you make your wudu, taban you have khushu'ah. It's prepping. And then taban we wait before the adhan and the iqamah, we wait for around 50 ayat. Taban in the West it's different, sometimes we wait for an hour, for 2 hours because of we want to have the biggest jama'ah, so we wait a bit, etc. It's a different story. But in normal practice, it should be 50 ayahs. Fajr, slightly longer. In Aisha, it's actually like to delay Aisha. So you're not really supposed to pray Aisha on time. You're supposed to pray it like an hour or two after, because that's what's like. But that's not what happens in most Muslim countries either. And then moderate walking pace. When you're going to the salah, you should actually walk. You shouldn't run. I know it's one thing when you're trying to catch the first row, but even so, you go in, you're panting, everybody hates you because you did that, and then you throw your shoes and you stampede the whole place and everybody loses their focus, and that's one of the whole reasons why you shouldn't do that. And you should just be in a state of rest. You shouldn't be in sympathetic mode. You should be in parasympathetic mode, which is just calming down. Khalas? I'll give you 5 minutes, and we come back 6:10 please, and I'll take your questions. I'm going to put a slide, and you can put your questions there and we can have a little Q&A. Okay? Jazakumullahu khair. طيب, while we're writing down the questions, I just have maybe something that I forgot to put in the slide, by the way. In the types of salah, before you guys came, we were mentioning all the types of salahs. We have witr, we have duha, we have sunan, we have janazah, we have istisqa, we have hajj, we have a lot of stuff. But one of them was salat al-janazah, right? What's nice about salat al-janazah is there's no ruku'ah in it, and there's no sujood in it. And I think this is a deliberate sunnah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All these people who are standing and they're going to pray for you, pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives you His rahmah, they're not allowed to do ruku' or sujood for you in that prayer. And it's as if nobody can do anything for you. It's you and your deeds, wallah. It didn't really matter if somebody was going to do salat janazah on you or not. It doesn't matter if a shark ate you or you drowned somewhere or you were blown up to pieces by a regime. It doesn't matter really. It doesn't matter if everyone prayed for you. It's just وصلوا عليك صلاة لا ركوع فيها ولا سجود. It's in a very known verse of poetry. And they prayed on you a prayer that has no ruku'as in it or no sujood. But did you ever hear of a prayer without ruku' and sujood? Did you ever hear of one type of prayer without ruku' and sujood? Hatta the prayer of fear when you're amongst an enemy or a tyrant, where you cannot do your ruku' and sujood, you have to do the ruku' and sujood in your intention while you're standing. This is the only prayer we have that has no ruku' and no sujood. And it's almost a reminder that nobody's going to do anything for you, and nobody. And someone once taught me, the next time when you're in the masjid and you hear the adhan, or you hear the iqamah to the prayer, usually they do the janazah after the iqam. So we never ever be in a masjid, be in that presence of a jama'ah, and forget that one day, sooner or later, the iqamah will be playing, but you will not be standing with the people waiting to pray. You will be in your box waiting for them to finish the fard to pray on you. And you will not have the opportunity to pray that fard. You will be one of two people. Either you had the opportunity your whole life that you prayed your fara'id and your sunan and everything else to pray to, that you made the maximum of the time He gave you, as much as you could. Or you will regret and you say, Wallahi, I wished I could have been standing praying with these people. But it's a very strong reminder that the iqamah, when you hear the iqamah, don't think that this is the iqamah for the prayer. Think this is the iqamah for somebody in the world has just died right now. And maybe next time it's going to be me. By the way, in my lifetime, I know maybe, I can't enumerate them now. I think I know between 7, I can name 7 easily. The rest I cannot, but I think I know between 7 and 15. I have to sit down and remember very vividly. 7, 15 people that died that were my age and younger. And I knew them. Maybe a few of them I did not. I know a friend that knows them. Khalas. I could have easily been in the same circle, but just life the qadr did not bring us together. This idea that, we don't really die when we're young, khalas. And the signs of the last days of time is that people die when they're young, under 40 and 14. This is very common. I had so many near-death experiences, by the way. So many near-death experiences. Khalas? I'm sometimes shocked that I'm still alive, to be honest. Yeah. طيب, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Why do you pray? How to maintain khushu' in prayer? Is iqama compulsory for girls? How to perform istikhara? OCD has taken my love out of prayer and wudu. Hello. طيب. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'll start with the ones that are easier for me to answer. Or I think are easier for me to answer at least. Is iqama compulsory for girls? I don't know. Quite frankly, I really don't know. So this is a fiqh issue. Maybe I should take a screenshot of this thing and maybe I can ask and get back to you. Is it come for girls? So I'll do that and then I'll get back to you. Khalas? The second is 5 minutes of coolness when I do this. There we go. How to perform istikhara? Istikhara is you do your normal wudu, you do two sunnah rak'ah very normally, and then towards the end, either after your tahiyyah, after you do the final tashahhud, or after you finish your salam, taslim, you read the dua of istikhara. Dua of istikhara, اللهم نستعينك بعلمك واستقدرك بقدرك واسألك من فضلك العظيم فإنك تعلم. Allah, I seek knowledge through your knowledge. And I ask you for guidance through your guidance. For you know I do not know, and you're able and I'm not able. If you know that this thing is good for me and for my deen and for my dunya and for my akhirah, so give it to me and make me come closer to it and give me what's good in it. And if you know if this thing is bad for me and my dunya and my akhirah, so keep it away from me, keep me away from it, and give me what's good for me and then make me content with it. As far as I can remember, I'm trying to do quick translation here. But you can read it, and because it's sunnah prayer, you're allowed to read. So you're allowed to read the Quran, you're allowed to read a dhikr, as long as it's sunnah prayer. Even if you're new to Islam and you're not able to read, you're not able to memorize, you have leeway to some extent to read in your fard, but it's better to keep that to the sunnah. So you read the dua in Arabic, and you can read the transliteration, to say it properly, in its proper form. So it's English, but written in the way you would pronounce it in Arabic, transliteration. Either before the taslim or right after taslim, either or. And you actually say what that thing is. Is it a program? Is it a place you're going to travel to? And the Prophet ﷺ the Sahaba said, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يعلمنا الاستخارة في كل شيء. The Prophet ﷺ used to teach us istikhara in every single thing. That means that some Sahaba actually used to pray istikhara every single day before they would have to make a choice about something, because they knew at some point in the day there's going to be something I have to choose and I don't want to choose. So they preempt and they would say, this thing that's going to meet me in the day, choose for me. They leave it all to Allah kida, and I cannot choose anything. I don't even know which train to take, which gas station to stop at, which sandwich should I take, which restaurant should I go to, which flight should I take, which hotel should I go to. I don't know anything, wallah. Which SIM provider should I select? What do we know? We don't really. So that's istikhara. And istikhara, the answer is not through a dream. That's not through a dream. There's so many series online about this through Omar Sulaiman, and a lot of shuyukh, mashallah, they covered this extensively. Istikhara is you do it once and twice, you do it so many times until you get some sort of sign that you're supposed to go in this direction. But if I went in this direction, it didn't work out. That's the answer of your istikhara. Allah wanted to give you the test of perseverance through you asking Him, Ya Allah, give me what you think is right for me and make it right for me. So He will make this test the best thing that could have happened to you, because you asked Him what's good for me. He could have not given it to you, but it will not be the greatest thing for you. You reach down a bad path. How many of you have had a test in their life, and after they came out from it, they said, you know, that was the best thing that ever happened to me? But if you go back in time, you would never choose it. How to form istikhara. خلاص. Okay. How to maintain khushu'ah, OCD, why do you pray? How do you maintain khushu'ah is basically this whole workshop. We're trying to understand what Salah is about so that we can actually find different inputs of where and how to keep your khushu'ah going. Whether it's in the start, if you miss the start line, like when you go to a race and you miss the start line, you can always make it. They'll let you in. You paid the ticket, they'll let you in. You're just late. So you have to catch up. You can catch up at the Fatiha. You can catch up at ruku'ah. You can catch up in your sujood. That's why we say astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah after the prayer, because there's some point in the prayer where we lacked in khushu'ah. So that astaghfirullah 3 times, the sunnah we say after every single prayer, it makes up for the parts you did not have khushu'ah in your prayer or you weren't focused. Now, that's the reality of it, that you have to keep your mind engaged. And we said you prep before it, you do your wudu, you go up and make Salah an event. The Prophet ﷺ, he had an abaya, he had a particular garment he would wear for Salah. Right? He would put perfume before he went to Salah. He would do his siwak, brush his teeth before Salah. Put perfume before Salah. Right? He would have a spot in the masjid. Right? He would walk slowly to the masjid. When he was engaged in playing with his family, the Prophet said that he was with us like a young child, the way he would play. And he would joke, like everybody would. Beautiful person at home. We have a really bad image of people who did not say the seerah, which was me growing up, have a really bad image of the Prophet ﷺ. We think he was serious all the time and macho, and he was a guy's guy. He was a man's man. There's nobody more manly than he was. But he was soft and delicate, and hatta a small girl would walk up to him and take him by the hand kida, and he would give her his hand and he would follow her, or wherever she wants to take him in the streets of Medina, he would follow, just follow. He would joke in his house with his wives. He would be wonderful with the kids. He would go on his knees and put Hassan in his Naam rakiban antuma. You are 2 great horsemen, you are. Wa naam rakiba ana, and I am a great horse for you. That he would say that to them. That's our Prophet ﷺ. So he had this mentality, but she would say, فَلَمَّا دَخَلَ الْأَذَانِ قَامَ كَأَنَّهُ لَا يَعْرِفُنَا وَلَا نَعْرِفُ. But when the adhan came, he would get up and go as if he does not know us and we do not know him. Like if I go into a classroom and I don't know the people, I'm sorry, I apologize, and I walk out. Yalla guys, assalamu alaikum, I have to go pray. خلصت. مش just another 5 minutes, 10 minutes to have بس a few dates with a bit of more milk and then I'll go. Out, خلاص. But if you ask me, I have a cheesy way of doing it. I call it the SUV system. Right? Shaitan, utterance, and visualization. The Prophet ﷺ, he said there's a shaitan called Khinzab. This is his job. His name is Khinzab. His job is to come and delay your thoughts in prayer. When the adhan is called, he runs away because he hates the sound of adhan. When the iqamah is called, he runs away and then he comes back to you in your prayer. And then the Prophet ﷺ said this word by word. He makes you remember things in your prayer. I have to make that call. Oh my God, that assignment, that deadline. Oh my God, my mom told me in the middle of the prayer. And then you finish the prayer and you forgot what you were remembering. That's his job. So I now have a practice. It's not sunnah, and I'm not saying it's sunnah because if I do, it's bid'ah if I say that. But I'm saying for me, because I get a lot of this, in every time I get up, before I say my Fatiha, I say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And I read. And I do a small, as the Prophet said, if one of you comes, the shaitan comes to him in a prayer, say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, and do a small light, spitting it on the right and the left, on the guy standing next to you. Wallahi, some people do that. Somebody once did it to me in the prayer. And I was checking what's up with my shoulder. Astaghfirullah azim wallah. And I laughed. And I was like, what am I going to tell him? If I laughed, مش ممكن. Long time ago, I would have beat him up. But alhamdulillah, my teachers taught me how you have to have this understanding of people who don't get it. Or they're new, or they just don't get it. Yeah. For that's one thing. And then utterance. I noticed if I don't read out what I'm, and that's a sunnah actually, whenever you do salah, you should be reading out. Say, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, وَلَقَدْ سَبَقَتْ كَلِمَتُنَا لِعِبَادِنَا الْمُرْسَلِينَ إِنَّهُمْ هُمُ الْمَنْصُورُونَ. When you utter it, and I read it somewhere, I think there's a book, I can't remember which book. And basically when you say things out loud, the effect it has on your brain is very different when you just think them. That's why people sing out loud. They don't sing in their brain. You don't see people in the bathroom singing they actually sing out loud because there's an effect on your brain. Yeah. So when you utter the Quran, it's very different than when you just think about, oh yeah, I'm reading now Surah Al-Kafirun. It's very different when you actually utter it. So SUV, and then the V is visualization. All these things you said about Surah Al-Fatiha, of what it means it's the place you should stay in for a long time. It means that you have roots in the ground. It means that you're establishing through standing. It's the strongest part of your lumbar spine. It's the strongest part of you. So no matter, it's your weakest link. So no matter how strong it is, how strong your salah is how strong you are. I always visualize this. So I stand, this is the place I'm supposed to be. This is where I belong. Not my office, not my house, not the train, not this, not the beach. This is where I'm supposed to be. And then I think about all these things and I visualize it. I visualize Al-Kaaba. I visualize some of the Imam used to say, if you want to have focus in your prayer, visualize that the Kaaba is in front of you. The two angels of the ones that write your deeds and the ones that write your sins on your right and your left. Malak al-Maut, the angel of death, is behind you. The Prophet ﷺ is to your right and he's looking at you, seeing your prayer. And I forgot the last one. Yeah. So visualization. So I call it the SUV system. Right? This is, I call it. Allah gave me this little, I go very well with acronyms, so they help me in my life. How to maintain khushu'. OCD has taken my love out of prayer and wudu. I call it OCB, not OCD. Obsessive compulsive blessing. There is a blessing to liking things to be at the right angle. It's nice. It's nice to like to have, put your phone kida, and it has to align with the case. And the mouse has to be, and the charger has to be, not kida, it has to be, find the right extension cord and stick it to your desk so that everything is right angle. There's beauty in that. So it's not a bad thing. The thing is, shaitan knows how to change everything that's beautiful into something that's horrible. Shaitan is really good at that. Very good at that. He's really good with coding. Yeah. But the scholars say, and they call this waswasa, a type of waswasa, the perfectionist waswasa, that everything has to be Shafi. When shaitan tells you wudu is not complete, tell him, Ya Habib, I know my wudu is not complete. I'm going to hell. Do you want something from me? I'm happy to go to hell, ya Sidi. Khalas. I'm going to meet Allah and I'm going to tell him my wudu was horrible. And he's going to forgive me. What do you want back from me? What do you want? Leave me alone. You have to have this mentality. Say, A'udhu billahi min shaitanir rajim, with this mentality that what do you want? I know I did all of maybe I didn't catch the last half mil of my arm. It's not your business. When are you going to be judged or I'm going to be judged? I want to go to hell without you, Sidi. Khalas? First class, without you. You don't need, I guarantee I'm going to go to hell without you. Khalas? Job done. One in hell. Khalas? Go back. Sibni. And when you pray the same, waswasa. Ya Sidi, I know I did the Fatiha. And I know I read the surah. What do you want from me? Imshi. A'udhu minash rajim. Mish. The small tip. Yeah? I just did it anyway. And then, but that's you have to have this mentality of leave me alone. With time, he'll go. And that's what the books say. This is all what I know on the topic. Why do you pray? Wallahi, it's a very good question. I have two answers. I don't know which one is more sincere, and I don't know which one takes a larger portion of my heart. The first answer is, I grew up learning that this is something you have to do, and this is something that differentiates you between you and a disbeliever. But to me, it's sort of on autopilot. I do it. Yani, it's just in my program now. It's very hard not to do. Even on my bad days, it's very hard not to do. It's in my program. Alhamdulillah, it's a blessing that's in my program. The other part of me is, like I said, anything can be a blessing, can be a test. I'm an introvert in many ways. I'm an extrovert in other ways. I'm very sensitive in many ways to what people say. Sometimes I couldn't care less what people say. It depends, yani. But through my life experiences, which I see them as very valuable to me, I've come to the conclusion that يعني فعلا this hadith it's central to this meaning I'm trying to say, just so I don't take too much of your time because we're already running late. Sayyidina Jibreel, he came to the Prophet ﷺ and he told him, Ya Muhammad, عش ما شئت فإنك ميت واحبب من شئت فإنك مفارق وعمل ما شئت فإنك مجاز به. I want to get you the full hadith. Sayyidina Jibreel is saying this to Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the best of creation, the highest of creation. He's saying, live as long as you want because you're going to die. Love whomever you want because you're going to leave them. Whether they die first or you die first, you're going to leave them. And do whichever you want, for you will be rewarded based on what you do, of good or of evil. وَعَلَمْ أَنَّ شَرَفَ الْمُؤْمِنِ قِيَامُهُ بِاللَّيْلِ. And know that the honor of a believer is standing in the night praying. وَعِزَّهُ اسْتِغْنَاؤُهُ عَنِ النَّاسِ. And having the utmost respect and power. Izzah is respect and power. We respect the sheikh, but he doesn't have power. We are fearful of a policeman because he doesn't have power. It doesn't mean we always respect them. Izzah is both respect and power. وَعِزَّهُ اسْتِغْنَاءُ عَنِ النَّاسِ. And having izzah in this dunya is not needing people. You will always need people, by the way. Allah created the sunnah. But that in your heart, you don't feel like you are under anyone's control. You don't see that they have any control over your life. Yeah? You see Allah's hand over them, that He put them here as a test for you, but that they don't have control over you. Through my experiences in life, I've come to a few depressions, a few solitude moments, a few this, a few that, where I've really lost any interest in people on any level, from parents to a spouse to... I've lost faith in everyone. And it's not a bad thing, by the way, to lose faith in everyone. Sometimes you need to lose faith in everyone to have faith in the one. I've lost faith in everyone. People will love you to a certain extent because you can do horrible things that will make people not like you, even your own parents. And if they help you, they will help you because it's blood, it's fitrah, not because they want to. Allah will help you because He wants to. The hadith of the person who killed 99 people, Allah wanted him to do tawbah. So He told the angels, when they measured and they found that the land that he was closer to was the land of sin, Allah made the three riwayah, but He made the land of good deeds expand so that it would overtake the land of bad deeds, although he was closer to the land of bad deeds. I lost hope in people. أحبب ما شئت. I lost hope in life. فعلا, I'm not that rich, but I've had moments in my life where I was very wealthy. And anything I've been given, wallah, you get used to it. I've been on yachts, I've been in very expensive cars. With time, you lose all interest. بجد, wallah, you lose all interest. There's a really nice interview, the last interview Cristiano had with Pierce, the last 20 minutes. Please watch that, how he talks about wealth. You will lose all interest in wealth. It's very interesting what he says about wealth. Very interesting. وَعَمَلْ مَا شِئْتَ فَإِنَّكَ مُجَازٍ بِهِ. And do whatever you want. Fa'lan, in this world, you look at it and it's like, it's a beautiful place, but fa'lan, this is our only chance. Fa'lan, this is a blip on the graph. Here's your life. You were born here, and the line goes, I'm not even going to say circle, because if I say circle, that means it's karma, that you're coming back, like the Buddhist thing. And that's not true. We're not going to come back here. Once we leave this place, there's no coming back. We're not coming back here. It's over. For your life is a dot and it's a continuous line. This dunya, if you want to put it on this graph, it's a blip كده. Beep. وخلاص. For some people, their heart rate, they know how to get their heart rate. Some people, they're always sleeping. Heart rate is 40. Some people, they don't do anything in life. Some people, they walk a bit briskly, 65. Some people, they run 100, 120. Some people, they sprint 150. Some people, they give it their all, they cannot even breathe, 165, 180, 190 in the red zone. This blip, you get to control where it wants to go. And then he says, what's your honor in dunya? The one thing he chose was Salah. And the voluntary Salah, Qiyam al-Layl. Because that means you took out of your time and your sleep and your effort and your social life to get up to Allah and to pray to Him. Then there must be something between you and Allah. Then you must love Him more than a lot of people to get up to Him. And if you don't, with time, you will. Even if you don't feel it, when you get up in the night, make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make the du'as of the qiyam, and with time, you will get up because you want to be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that will give you the ghina where you're dealing with people, but you don't see people. It's like you're on a chessboard. You see knights, and I'm using the Arabic, I don't know the parts in English. You see knights, you see elephants, you see queens, you see kings, you see governors, you see soldiers. You don't see people. You just see pieces. I hope that this is the reason more why I pray. I honestly cannot say this is, but I know that this is a part of, alhamdulillah, the philosophy that why I pray. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لكم فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم سبحانك وبحمدك نشهد لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. And inshallah we will resume next week. Next week inshallah we will be covering, inshallah if we live till next week, we'll be covering wudu and the qibla and the importance of the qibla and its meaning, and takbir. Yeah, I think those are enough. Hopefully we get through them next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan for coming.
You wouldn't use